Welcome to the Westside Personalized Podcast, where real educators share their classroom-tested, learner-approved personalization practices. I'm your host, Andrew Easton. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion and are able to find a few valuable takeaways from the podcast. And so without further ado, let's go to the pod!
Welcome to another installment of the Westside Personalized Podcast. I'm excited today to be here with Angela Mosier, who's our math department chair here at the high school, and a lot of other titles. I'm sure that I can... you want to run through some of them?
I've been up here for about 9 years. I'm the 2013 Nebraska Teacher of the Year. I'm nationally board certified. Just a lot of different experiences, I guess, in my background.
Just generally all around kind of a big deal.
I don't go that far.
I would. And I'm excited because at the high school here, so yeah, I know that not everyone necessarily has been at the high school before and got a chance to experience our modular scheduling, but there are class periods where students are free to go and work in different spaces. And so each department does have its own designated space, so they can seek out a teacher during their open times, things like that. And so the math department this year has done some really interesting things with regards to flexibility and space,
yes.
Which is a part of personalized learning. And so we're not necessarily going to look at instructional personalized learning in our pod today, but we get a chance to just visit a little bit with you about kind of your vision for this big project. And it seems like it's gone really well. So tell me, I guess, a little bit about where it started.
Okay. I've always looked at this space and I've wanted to do just something different with it, kind of update it, give it a modern feel. That kind of started when I saw that media was bringing in some different furniture, and they were just some neat spaces down there. Mm-hmm. And last year, we worked with Mr. Ratliff's architecture class at their end of the year project. They had some options, and one of them was to redesign the Math IMC. And so we had 3 groups take on this project, and they interviewed students, they interviewed my teachers. I mean, they did a fantastic job and came up with 3 different proposals. And things that we definitely saw in all 3 were different types of furniture, and doing more of a student workspace versus a teacher workspace. So students felt that they had a little bit more freedom to do what they needed to do without always having, a teacher 5 feet saying, "Shh, I have a student here testing," or whatnot. So we took a big mix of each of their proposals. Some of the things they wanted we couldn't do just because of space and sizing of the teacher's desk. But what we really focused on was the type of furniture and stuff that they wanted to add. So, for instance, they all recommended rectangular tables, which at first I'm kind of like, well, that's interesting. And I said, so why? And they're like, in math, they're like, you spread stuff out and you just need a lot more space. I'm like, that's a very easy thing to do. They also mentioned areas of, maybe you have a student who doesn't want to sit with a group. Maybe you have somebody who just needs a nice, comfortable spot to sit alone, get their work done, and just some of that kind of private time, or maybe just working with one other person. And so then we started thinking about the development of the coves that kind of go over the overhang of the IMC. And so back there we have places where we have 2 chairs that has an armrest, so that you could work individually, or if the person sitting in the chair next to you, you two could work together. But, still kick your feet up, a little bit laid back, just relax, and just have that nice, comfortable environment that's a little bit more personal and private. And we also set up some booth areas. So it kind of looks like a restaurant booth. We have kind of a booth-shaped couch, and then the other side we have some cog kind of benches that the kids sit on. So just creating those different spaces of what would be interested for the student. Do you want something a little bit more away from the large group, or are you comfortable sitting with the large groups? The boards that we purchased a couple years ago, those have been great with the large groups because we've put them in the middle of our aisle. We have the 2 standing whiteboards are on wheels, so about 3 by 4 feet. And so they're portable, so we move them all over the IMC. Teachers steal them and work them when they have groups. But we've had some kids getting dry erase markers and actually working on those boards as well, which has been fun. And some of the newer teachers have even given them challenge problems if they don't have any work to do and saying, hey, do this. And so it's been fun to see like 6 to 8 kids saying, "Oh, how do you do that?" And
is this
we
very
did some
like
rewards.
Good Will Hunting almost?
It's kind
like,
of, it's been
when
interesting.
he goes and solves the problem on the challenge problem on the chalkboard.
And then they all had to sign it afterwards because they needed to make sure that everyone knew it was them. And so we've just had some fun situations with that. We also took another area of the IMC, which is it's a little corner. So I think of it's almost like the size of what might be like a living room or something in your house, but it's tucked away a little bit more far away from everyone else. So back there we took different desks that we can put together in groups of 6, or we can fit them in 4s or duos or singletons. and that's a multi-purpose space. So kids will go back there for testing because it is quiet. This morning was the perfect example of how I wanted to see it used. There was a group of kids back with one of our calculus teachers, Mrs. Rao, and they were doing a study session before their upcoming test. So she had more space and could fit in more kids, hers and Mr. Long's, whoever was open that mod, and actually do a great review with them during an open mod. Where that wouldn't have been functional last year, trying to put everybody around one teacher's desk.
That's awesome. That's something that we've, with our training, we've kind of started to talk a little bit about as you go to design a space, think about what students are going to do in that space. Mm-hmm. And we've even gone so far as to say maybe a good process for that is to come up with 3 verbs, right? So if you say students are going to, and if I'm hearing you right, I guess, right, they're going to collaborate in these spaces. Yep. They're going to, I don't know if isolation, but like to work like independently.
I would say focus.
And focus. There you go. In isolation would certainly be ones with your overhang, like you're talking about. And then you want to have a space. Maybe you don't even have a verb for it, but they would have the ability to manipulate to cater to whatever their verb might be.
Yeah, I've told teachers too. If you have other ideas to how to better situate the furniture so it works, let us know. I said I'm not. I just wanted the idea of pulling stuff up here to make it a comfortable, friendly work environment where you can be productive and get things done. And that's kind of what we're noticing. We were first worried about the noise level. And for a while, it was loud because we had more tables in an area that after a while we kind of pulled back. We're like, okay, maybe not 6 here. But we put them in another area, and now it really made a difference. We also added in our large supervision area that we have, the majority of our kids, there's now a teacher work table. So whoever is on supervision has a table where, whether it's their kids or somebody from another class that just needs math help, they can go sit while that teacher can supervise their larger group, but still individualize for a student that just might have a random question. And
so they're kind of there more like by proximity to hopefully keep the noise down. And that's something you didn't have in your original vision.
Before we would walk around the whole time. So for a teacher, it wouldn't be that mod. If you were on supervision, it took away a lot of time for you to maybe work with your own students or to get some grading done or to do some planning. So we made it a little bit more functional for the teacher as well to use their time wisely. And I've noticed kids are very willing to go up to that person who's there because they know it's an adult that's just available and is right there for them to catch. So it's been nice.
Great. And that's something that I think is important with space too, is that you consider that students certainly have some choice in manipulating it, which I'm hearing, which is fantastic. And that it is an evolution, and so as like needs arises, you're able to, and it's interesting that we've only been in school, a month?
Yeah, I know.
Already seen some different iterations and multi-purposing of spaces that in ways that maybe you haven't seen experience yet, but people are starting to stretch those spaces for what their potential could be.
Yes, and that's, we still have smaller tables by the teacher's desk, so if you are working with one student or 2 at a time, you can pull that away a little bit from the larger crowd for a little bit more privacy, and students might be more willing to ask questions because they're not right near their friends. So it takes away that factor of I don't want other people to know I don't get it. And so it's been a big change in the environment.
Okay, and that's okay. So there's my next question, I guess, too, that I sort of had in my mind as I knew we were going to chat today. What's the correlation, maybe, that you've just seen in a month's time with sort of the general vibe, I guess, of being here as it pertains to engagement, as it pertains then to academic performance? Have you had enough, maybe not enough time to see that yet? Is that...
I think you see it in different aspects. It depends what kind of group's in here, because sometimes kids will find the open mods and, okay, we're all open, let's go sit together. But having one area it's a lot easier to manage as a supervisor. And we go around and say, hey, what do you have to work on? You had math today? What are you doing in English? So we can kind of target those interactions with kids a little bit more versus constantly flowing around the IMC. And as soon as your back is turned, of course, they're back on their phone or doing something else. I've seen kids be really productive in the back areas with the booths and with the Cove. I think they like that they can work with a couple people, but it's still less distraction than if you're sitting with a mass of people. And it's just... our proximity is better with kids. The kids like the space better. They're more comfortable. But I think it's them just knowing what they can do in the space and kind of learning about, how can they use this for their benefit. Because they've been with us too. They've seen, was having a whole stack of furniture with no space to put it yet, and then they'll come in the next day and they're like, oh, that's different. When I brought in the benches, they all loved those. I see one kid who every single day he sits on the benches. He loves those things. He's never at a table, but he's always very productive. It's just, you can tell he's very comfortable. And so they just have to find their niche. So that's been nice.
Have you guys had to do any instruction with regards to how to use the space for those groups that have been maybe a little bit off task?
I think that's just with not necessarily formal instruction, but just talking to kids when you're on supervision.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get up if I just need to go stroll and just get away from doing something at my desk and just say, hey, how do you like this back here? Do you like the furniture? Is this working for you? Do you have different suggestions? And I'll see kids back there, with things, things that they're working on. And if they're not, I always kind of give them some ideas of things that they can do, and it's just building those relationships and knowing that their thoughts are valued as well. And if they have an idea about how to switch it, that, okay, we'll see what we can do. We can't make promises. But I mean, the fact that the students who came up with these ideas originally took the time to interview students, there's student feedback from the very beginning.
Gosh, well then I guess probably one of my follow-up questions here would be what takeaways do you have then that maybe you hadn't anticipated being a part of the changes, but it's just sort of come about?
I think just kind of looking back at it is sometimes little changes really make a big impact. And it's kind of scary switching all of this. When I first saw the teacher's desk move to one part of the IMC, I kind of walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to actually happen. Hopefully it works, or, I hope the teachers are okay with this. There'd be a few times when we knew things were getting loud. I'm like, it'll get better once it's all done, just be patient with me. And so you're always going to be a little bit anxious about, if I make this change, what's going to happen. But it's just knowing there's flexibility and, not being afraid or hurt if somebody has, hey, can we do something about these? And be like, yes, let's go. Because it can always get better. You've got to start somewhere, but it's been fun, and it's just the change of environment adds a little bit more excitement. Kids want to come to the Math IMC. Even the kids who are like, oh, I can't stand this, but they enjoy working up here. They're comfortable, and if it helps them be more productive, that's all that really matters.
And that really gets at the heart of, because with regards to flexibility is one of the personalized tenets. We have for grouping, for spacing, which is what we're really here talking about.
Yeah.
But I think you're in your answer, it's also in mindset. And your ability to say, I'm willing to take on the risk and the growing pains to work towards something that might be better. And it sounds like you as a department were able to do that, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it was just fun having everyone's feedback and having people come back and be like, oh, okay, this is kind of nice. Or teachers sitting in the comfy chairs saying, oh, let's just leave this here.
We're going to switch with the students.
It's just, when you see people smiling and enjoying and feeling that the teachers can now be productive, that they're not necessarily always asking students to be quiet, you see just that work environment on the other side too, of not just the kids having newer spaces, but those teachers having a little bit more, just some private space or just quiet, just so they can be more productive and do some awesome things for kids too.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime.
I'm going to take a lap here probably and get a little bit of video of the space, so we can go ahead and include that in
ask some kids and see what they think too.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that and stop some people. So thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Right. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, that's a wrap on another great episode. For more information or to contact us directly, you can email our team at personalized.learning@westside66.net. As always, thanks for tuning in and learning from the Westside Personalized Podcast.